Trauma doesn't seek safety, it seeks what it knows. Even when it hurts, even when it wounds again. This is why we mistake intensity for intimacy, chaos for connection. But recognition is not truth, it's memory. Tonight we explore how trauma shapes what we call love, and how awareness begins to untangle the past from the present. Let us embark on a journey of quiet introspection, where the heart and mind find gentle union in the exploration of what we often mistake as love. Beneath the tender veil of affection hides a truth woven from the remnants of our deepest wounds, a truth that can bind us in cycles that whisper the false comforts of our past. In this sacred space, we unravel the tapestry of trauma that masquerades as love, where echoes of once familiar pain sometimes pretend to be warmth and connection. The soul is drawn often unknowingly toward the familiar. This longing, layered through time, has taught us to seek comfort in repetition. Even when it harms, the body recalls these ancient scripts, its rhythms shaped by past impressions, casting patterns of hurt in the guise of love. We often find ourselves entangled in these deceptions, our beings yearning for authentic connection, yet returning to past narratives that feel like home, safe yet unfulfilling. This cycle is not merely a miscalculation, but a dance of the senses, where chemistry paints illusions that trick us into believing the mirage of love. The mind and heart, trapped in the echoes of yesterday's grief, mistake the familiarity of turmoil for the essence of affection. In this lies the profound challenge: to distinguish love that truly nurtures from the chains of unhealed traumas. Raised by spectres of unresolved pain, our relationships mirror the past. Our wounds possess the silent power to orchestrate our steps, pulling strings from shadows, guiding our gestures within these intimate realms. The pain projects onto our loved ones, casting shadows over intentions, dimming the luminosity of clarity. Liberation from these bonds begins with the tender gaze inward, a bravery to confront the hurts, not with harsh judgment, but with compassionate inquiry. Let us sit with the discomfort these shadows bring, knowing our emotions bear witness to unspoken stories yearning for peace. By embracing these cries from within, we pave the way for release, crafting narratives anew that honour our history without allowing it to capture our present. Thus emerges a love that breathes authenticity, grounded in understanding and resilient amid growth. Dependency, deceptive in its weave, often appears to us cloaked in the garb of affinity. These illusions root from desires born of incompleteness and seek validation with desperate hands. Partners become mirrors of our lost worth, reflecting back anchors that can hold us hostage. Yet, real love doesn't bind but embraces interdependence, a harmonious dance of two souls, each whole, yet choosing to share space and time. To transcend dependency, we cultivate an inner wellspring of self-worth, untethered from the external gaze. This act summons a gentle nurturing of our dual nature, embracing both shadow and light, reminding us of our worthiness. In this self-awareness, we greet others from a position rich in completeness, crafting bonds of respect and shared understanding. In love's true form, empowerment replaces confinement, unfurling before us paths of growth and freedom, not shadowed by control. Trauma, when entangled with love, often exchanges empowerment for dominance, where the fear of losing subsides to mistrust and possessiveness. Reforming affection into empowerment invites an altered vision, viewing love as an agent of growth and transformation. Embracing transparency and vulnerability, not as dangers, but as doorways to deeper ground. We commit to journeys of perpetual evolution. Thus, love transcends historical chains, blossoming into spaces rife with mutual support, respect, and the liberation of spirit. Through this understanding, we face reenactment, reliving old wounds in pursuit of resolution. These patterns cast illusions, making past pains our grounding reality. Caught in loops of argument and fear, we must awaken to the echoes within, question the origins of discomfort, and seek clarity amid the noise. Together we journey through the shared landscape of history, transforming these battlegrounds into places of peace. The illusion of control in love emerges from fear, a protective shield against vulnerability. Trauma redefines control into care, but fiercely holding reins stifles the grace of genuine connection. Choosing to surrender to the rhythmic undulations of relationships, we embrace the unpredictable beauty that comes with real intimacy. Trust means not passivity, but a bold heart, opening to the flow of authenticity. Bound within love is often a forgotten lineage. Obligation, masking itself as care. Early narratives sketch duty where love should paint. By re-evaluating these boundaries, we reignite mutual respect and bring focus to personal dignity. True connection emerges from this delicate balance, enriching the vibrant dance of individuality and joint existence. In this tapestry of healing, self-compassion becomes the golden thread that holds the work of disentangling trauma and love. Through a gentle lens, we allow forgiveness for our imperfect moments, embracing an intrinsic worth that no voice above can alter. In this vast love for self, we prepare the soil for others to root and grow, fostering an environment where affection blooms, untouched by wounded echoes. Such resilience blossoms through reflective practice, a quiet ritual of pause and introspection. The deliberate engagement with these inner landscapes fosters emotional resilience, transforming obstacles into opportunities. With openness as our guide, we embrace love not as a solution to problems, but an enduring force for healing. Here, as shadows lengthen and wisdom grows, we find ourselves ready to move beyond illusions into a realm of conscious and deliberate connection. In facing, loving and learning, we nurture a luminous love that rewrites history and builds tomorrow, a love that is pure, boundless and free. In the delicate tapestry of human emotions, our bodies instinctively reach for what they know rather than what they truly need. This yearning is not mere habit, it's deeply woven into our physiological and psychological essence. Our nervous system, shaped by eons of evolution, favours predictability as a tool for survival. So even amidst emotional turmoil, we gravitate toward the familiar. Not because it nurtures us, but because it feels like home. These biases silently steer our relationships, whispering to us to recreate those early emotional climates, no matter how comforting or painful they may have once been. The blueprints of this journey are set in our formative years. The emotional atmospheres we once navigated become templates for what our bodies perceive as normal. A childhood steeped in chaos may leave one magnetised to turbulence, just as someone raised in a realm of emotional distance may regard warmth with suspicion. Our search for love might then be misaligned with conscious yearnings for safety. As our path echoes with memories laid down long ago, to untangle love from mere familiarity requires rewriting these scripts and performing a conscious dance of intervention in those automatic narratives scripted by the past. To peer back into the landscapes of our childhood, is to see the climates that carved our emotional ebbs and flows. For some, love and validation were the sunlit meadows that nurtured their spirits. For others, life was defined by storms of criticism and neglect, leaving enduring marks. These early imprints often prove challenging to escape, as they create a foundational understanding of relationships, setting the standard for what love truly feels like. In adulthood, we may find ourselves unconsciously drawn to people who echo these primal patterns. If our childhood was lacking in affirmation, we may seek companions who mirror this by withholding affection, hoping to mend past wounds by striving to earn their love. Conversely, if conflict was abundant, relationships filled with discord may seem invigorating rather than harmful. Our bodies strive constantly for a state of familiarity, not always for health. It is only when we bring these early designs to light that we can step away from habitual scenarios and instead nurture environments that honour safety and true well-being. Through therapy, introspection, and deliberate self-awareness, we can break these cycles and create emotional ecosystems that support genuine growth. Our earliest defences, the protective castles we built to weather life's storms, often calcify into maladaptive strategies as we grow. These patterns, born of immediate emotional needs, may become rigid fortresses in adulthood. When stress strikes, we might revert to these strategies, engaging with partners who evoke familiar responses. This can lead us into cycles of repetition, where familiarity masquerades as compatibility or attraction, when it's simply a reflection of unresolved past conflicts. Progressing toward healthier relationships demands unraveling these adaptive patterns. It begins with awareness, recognizing those moments when reactions are automatic and disproportionate. Are there times when conflict feels safe, or when anxiety signals home? Such patterns reveal echoes of childhood strategies. Our journey to emotional understanding and transformation is a commitment to exploring these shadowed landscapes, allowing relationships to blossom with consciousness instead of mere repetition. Emotional imprints act as invisible threads within our relational tapestries, often holding more power over our connections than any material manifestation. These silent forces, inherited from our earliest interactions, leave lasting impressions on our emotional selves, shaping our perceptions of love and belonging. Many of these imprints remain hidden, influencing our choices without our conscious consent. By mapping these imprints, we find a guide to understanding how past interactions echo within present attachments. Delving into our relational histories allows us to locate their origins, marked by wounds or cherished memories. Such understanding sheds light on why certain behaviours trigger deep reactions and why particular patterns feel intimately linked to our identity. By unpacking these imprints with therapeutic guidance, we open doors to a liberated, authentic expression of love that prioritises safety over mere familiarity. In our adult journeys, the allure of emotional safety can be misleading. Those who grew up amid storms might see chaos as a sign of true connection, viewing calmer waters with skepticism. This paradox stems from misplaced concepts of safety, seeking environments that harboured past dysfunctions because they have moulded a false sense of security within familiar patterns. This distortion suggests that only the roller coaster of intense emotions can lead to authentic bonding. To dismantle this illusion, we need to redefine what emotional safety truly means. It is not simply the absence of conflict, it's the presence of a supportive and nurturing foundation where vulnerability and honesty can thrive without fear of repercussions. Recognizing the appeal of dysfunctional patterns calls for a perceptual shift, where peace and understanding replace chaos and volatility. By redefining emotional safety, we invite ourselves to trust and let love in its gentlest form reweave narratives of worth and connection. Trauma's legacy extends beyond its immediate aftermath, forming cycles of fear and familiarity. These cycles become deeply habitual, pulling individuals back to environments that mimic past traumas, driven by an unconscious compulsion to relive and resolve these experiences. Exposure to familiar chaos ironically becomes a comfort zone. This paradox reveals itself in relationship patterns, where the familiar unease of instability might be confused with love or passion. To escape these cycles, we must understand how trauma crystallizes recurring patterns. This comprehension unveils the mechanisms through which survival strategies become relational dysfunctions. By recognizing these cycles and fostering self-awareness, we begin to dismantle them. It requires a conscious commitment to adapt, nurture resilience, and create healthy boundaries. Healing takes root here, forging new pathways for love and relationships built on care and respect, not echoes of pain. In the shadows of our most ancient selves lies the limbic system, a keeper of the primal wisdom of survival. This vigilant sentinel is always awake, attuned to the whispers of danger lurking just beyond the periphery. For those touched by trauma, the world shimmers with the familiar echo of past fears, where the known, no matter how thorny, draws them near with an intimate allure. In relationships, this translates into a yearning for the comfort of what once was, even when what was still stings. Our biology, with its intricate design, teaches us to tread the paths oft-travelled, navigated by the heart, though they might lead us through tangled forests of familiarity. This journey is not born of nostalgia, but of a deeper, intrinsic essence. The mind equates these repeated trails with safety, knowing them well, thorns and all. In life's tender dance, our conscious yearnings for change are gently but firmly led astray by the subconscious's unwavering magnetism towards the patterns pressed into us long ago. These echoes of experience create templates upon which we build our responses to the dance of new beginnings. Thus, trauma becomes more than a solitary wound. It transforms into the very loom on which we weave the fabric of our emotional lives. Each thread is coloured by the past, casting shadows on the present, asking us to redefine notions of normalcy and safety. As we attempt to navigate the tempest of attraction, we find ourselves drawn to those who remind us of familiar storms. The pull of chaos, a quiet but tenacious force, is woven into desires, whispering of ancient resolutions sought among reincarnated conflicts. Someone raised amidst volatility may find themselves ensnared in the gravity of similar winds, not through fate's design, but the body and psyche seeking reconciliation with ghosts of yore. Herein lies the tale of trauma's silent hand, sculpting our desires, echoing unresolved cries into the cavern of the heart. Fight, flight or freeze, the primordial trio, stand as gatekeepers to survival. They are the unthinking guardians, waking full from slumber at the scent of familiar danger, bypassing the gentle reasonings of the mind. When old hurts knock, the body leaps into action, grasping for the age-old sword and shield meant for physical monsters, but now wielded against spectres of emotion. As such, these reflexes, once the saviours of flesh, bind us in unending cycles, hindering our ability to embrace new landscapes of peace. And here in the softly illuminated sanctuary of the subconscious, an unwavering narrative sings a siren song. What is known must also be safe. This belief meanders through every well-walked path, every echoing hall of our being, whispering that calm might harbour unseen storms. For those intimate with chaos, tranquility can be as alien as uncharted night skies, urging them to return to the turbulence they know so well. Blindfolded by this script, dramas replay, disguising themselves as passion, each chaotic swirl mistaken for the dance of love. In the midst of chaos lies the illusion of control and unintentional seduction. Those who conquer the storms of familiar pain are revered in their inner halls as masters, overlooking the fact that true mastery lies not in survival of the fiery trial, but in the quietude of choosing peace. This dance with chaos, fueled by a desire to cast away shadows or earn worth through suffering, binds us tightly to the narrative of old skirmishes refought. Yet releasing one's grip, understanding that power breathes freely in serene realms untouched by the chaos, opens doors to a gentle passage where healing resides. Trauma, like an unquenchable wanderer, seeks a balm for ancient wounds, a rewriting of tales that linger painfully unwritten. In its unrelenting pursuit, it carves a cyclic path, urging the heart to reenact the past, in hopes that the script might change, the curtain fall on triumph instead of tragedy. Therein lies a haunting riddle. Peace cannot be drawn from the mirror of old reflections, but from the profound interior shift that reimagines these reflections anew. To unlock this door is to journey towards secure attachment, a beacon in the night's embrace. How does one draw the map? Through anchoring in a new reality, redefining the safe harbour, trusting the gentle lights of trust and respect. This fresh narrative calls for the retraining of the heart and mind, a steady hand steering away from the rough seas toward the calm. In mindfulness and grounding, there is the key to turning away from the well-trod path, to forge new avenues where connection flows free from past burdens. Even in this poetic exploration, triggers arise, the spectres of older battles calling for attention. Yet within them lies discovery, not disaster, opportunities for unfolding deeper layers of self-awareness. Through embracing these echoes with understanding rather than resistance, one begins to softly untangle the threads that bind, reframing these moments into teachers of the heart's expansive classroom. Finally, the sacred act of rewriting. The inner storyteller, quill in hand, reshaping echoes not as limitations but as invitations towards something more. It invites a tapestry of narratives, reflective of a strength undaunted by shadows, a script not cast in stone but written daily with grace and agency. When we dare to hold this pen, the past becomes a gentle echo, a soft whisper guiding us towards the authentic dawn of our true selves. In the labyrinth of human emotions where echoes of childhood reverberate, the allure of chaos weaves a seductive story. For some, emotional turbulence is not merely a tempest to be weathered, but an intricate dance that speaks the language of familiarity. Within its whirlwinds lies a profound sense of comfort, where the chaos seems to whisper a forgotten lullaby of warmth and connection. Raised in the shadow of instability, individuals often find that life's tumultuous dance mirrors the landscapes of their formative years, where turmoil painted the hues of love and intimacy. The psyche, etched with memories of yesteryears, revisits those vibrant, albeit erratic brushstrokes, and misperceives them as the only genuine expression of affection. In this realm, emotional ups and downs conjure a rhythm, pulsating with nostalgia, a mirrored reflection of early neural pathways. Yet, within this paradoxical embrace of chaos, a peculiar fear of tranquility lingers. Stability, a serene and gentle breeze, may feel like the calm before an inevitable storm, a silence heralding unforeseen heartbreak. When genuine love extends its hand without expectation, the scarred heart hesitates, instinctively poised to retreat. Trauma scripts, indelible on the parchment of self, guide hands not toward calm waters, but toward maelstroms of uncertainty. Known patterns of instability mimic a subconscious pilgrimage towards closure, where each reenacted tempest is but an echo of unresolved narratives. Drama, with its compelling theatrics, masquerades as an old friend. Familiar as the dawn chorus, it offers a twisted semblance of intimacy. In its chaotic embrace, those entangled find what they believe is connection. The highs and lows dance through their veins, a promise whispered against the lull of serenity. Misunderstandings, exaggerated gestures, and self-imposed isolation become the troubadours of this misled heart, a reflection of youth spent navigating constant tension. Emotional psychology suggests this drama morphs into a curious addiction, where surges of adrenaline and cortisol replicate the fervour of conflict-laced love. Beneath the swirling drama lies an unyielding quest for true connection, a yearning to be seen, understood, cherished. However, the spotlight of spectacle often dims genuine dialogue, concealing the heart's earnest plea for authenticity. The tangles of drama cloak vulnerability, misleading hearts from the nourishment of stable love. Such beliefs, deeply embedded, reinforce the misconception that love is a test, fraught with challenges. Healing arises when this illusion is laid to rest, replaced by emotional poise and enlightened exchanges. In this theatre of emotion, choosing chaos serves an illusory purpose, a cloak of control draped over unpredictable terrain. Familiarity, even with pain, offers solace greater than confronting the unknown depths of genuine connection. True control, however, lies not in external tumult, but in the serene calm of inner mastery. The effort to replicate chaos is an unconscious defence, a shield against deeper fears of inadequacy. Mastery becomes veiled in the apparent sway over familiar discord, a past recreated endlessly. As mist forms on these reflections, the haze of fear dissipates. To embrace love's genuine calm, one must reframe the concept of control, shedding the schemes of survival born from old fears. The scaffolding of chaos, once serving as a fortress, now crumbles to reveal vulnerability, transformed into strength in its quiet acceptance. Stability, upon which authentic intimacy rests, invites the surrender of control, nurturing resilience from within. In relinquishing the chaotic dance, the soul learns to tiptoe gently through gardens of peace. Within the innocent whispers of childhood, seeds of instability were sown, growing into tendrils that now shape adult engagements. Early landscapes, woven with unpredictability, taught love as a currency of instability. These entrenched creeds become the architects of adult entanglements, scripts replaying forgotten refrains. Yet, illumination breaks as understanding of childhood scripts leads to gentle transformation. Healing emerges through quiet introspection and the grace of therapeutic guidance, where old narratives unravel to pave pathways anew. Childhood's echoes become teachers in the realm of compassion. The tapestry of stability unfurls tentatively, inviting hearts to shed the armours honed amid chaos. This journey incites a bold re-evaluation, dispelling myths of vulnerability and transforming strength into a tapestry of serene exploration. As barriers dissolve, the settled heart learns love's forgotten melody, fostering emotional safekeeping through deliberate choices. Within the cradle of stability, strength metamorphoses, welcoming serenity, as an ally rather than opposition. Embarking upon this journey has revealed the delicate lacework of love beyond chaos, where genuine care springs from foundations of nurtured calm. As echoes of past patterns soften, a gentle light reframes the known chaos, illuminating paths toward newfound peace. Slowly, a redefined tapestry of love emerges, where security nourishes not through upheaval, but through fertile grounds of calm. This new narrative, woven with transparency and eloquence, forms a sanctuary where love, trust and collaboration blossom unencumbered. With drawn breath and open heart, individuals embrace this serene revelation, reclaiming their narratives with grace, as chaos fades into reverent, transformative silence. In the quiet dance of human connection, there exists an intangible pull, as if invisible threads weave us toward others, etched with the same stories of hurt. The universe appears to conspire so that our unhealed wounds find their mirrors in others, drawing us into partnerships where the echoes of our past pain create an illusion of completeness. These relationships, intense and fervent as they might be, often rest upon the fragile foundation of shared wounds, unaddressed scars whispering to each other across the void. Yet within this delicate tapestry lies not only risk but also potential, a catalyst for introspection, a mirror for our internal landscapes. As two souls entwine around familiar pains, they journey together toward healing, or risk circling endlessly through patterns of old. By unravelling the intricate threads of these dynamics, we can peel back the layers, stepping cautiously into deeper truths about ourselves, allowing for the alchemical transformation of pain into nurturing, soulful relationships. From the tender years of childhood, interactions with caregivers and family shape how we perceive love's gentle touch or conflict's bracing sting. These early blueprints etch themselves into the fabric of our psyche, echoing through time until the patterns become familiar refrains in our adult relationships. To reenact these scenes of old is an unconscious attempt by our spirits to resolve past, unfinished stories, seeking closure yet elusive. The task of unveiling these patterns demands a commitment to inner reflection. It asks us to trace the echoes back to their origins, to shine a soft light upon them. Only then can we begin to dissect the inevitability of our choices, freeing our present from the shadows of unresolved paradigms and guiding us toward healthier, enlightened relational beginnings. In these mirrored dynamics, we often glimpse unacknowledged parts of ourselves reflected back through our partner's eyes. This mirroring process, while deeply illuminating, can bring with it a sting of self-revelation, forcing confrontation with our hidden insecurities and desires. The traits we perceive in others oftentimes reveal the unhealed corners of our own psyche, beckoning us into the introspective dance of growth. To witness these reflections with compassion, rather than condemnation, brings profound insight. The shadows we fear in others become sources of understanding, enfolding us in empathy, urging us toward a richer awareness of self and partner. It is this tender acceptance that unlocks doors to transformational relationships, crafted not from projection, but from genuine comprehension. Shared wounds can sometimes trap partners within the bounds of codependency, where the line between giving and receiving blurs into one of dependency for identity and emotional sustenance. This dance, often unconscious, may be misinterpreted as love's intensity, but it rests upon shaky ground detracting from true intimacy. Recognizing codependency delicately necessitates acknowledging the need for independence and the courage to explore one's emotional landscapes independently. Intimacy flourishes only when both souls are free to grow and heal in their own right, transcending the initial entanglements of over-reliance to emerge into a relationship grounded in mutual support and respect. Trauma bonds, forged in cycles of tumult and fleeting closeness, bind partners in chains of familiarity rather than shared joy, trapping them in relational prisons of survival instincts. Here, love and pain entwine too closely, muddying the waters of perception with overlapping experiences of pleasure and suffering. Breaking free from such bonds demands acknowledging their presence, followed by the painstaking process of disentangling oneself with therapeutic support, fostering an environment ripe for self-awareness and emotional steadiness. Upon recognizing the fallacy that these bonds define worth, space is created for resilience, transforming chains into pathways toward genuine, wholesome connections grounded in mutual affection. With profound connection comes the triggering of the shadow self, uncovering portions of our being we might prefer remain hidden. This awakening calls us to face fears and anxieties, seeing them not as faults but as facets of our completeness. Such an intimate journey into shadow work invites us to converse with our hidden depths, nurturing a holistic psyche where light dances alongside darkness in harmony. It is in the gentle exposing of our vulnerabilities that shared wounds transform into shared healing. To open oneself up, to cast aside the veneer of stoicism, requires a sanctuary of trust, a space unmarred by judgment or rejection. Here, courage invites resilience, allowing vulnerability to weave into the fabric of unity and restoration. Embracing vulnerability becomes the key to this transformative odyssey, casting a healing balm upon wounded hearts, painting a narrative not of survival, but transcendence. It is the lens through which past experiences are reframed, not as defeats but as soil for new beginnings amidst the ruins of pain. Through emotional alchemy, shared wounds metamorphose into potent catalysts for self-discovery and growth, shadowy beginnings blooming into golden narratives of empowerment. Crafting new stories within these bonds enables a rewriting of personal and shared narratives. By choosing empowerment over victimhood, past overhangs morph into fertile ground for present dialogues, collaborations steeped in gratitude and mutual aspiration. These reimagined narratives rekindle relationships with the luminous promise of mutual exploration and enduring transformation, untethered from the anchors of past wounds. As relationships evolve, they transition beyond the immediate confines of shared pain towards a legacy of healing that extends into the future. No longer shadows of their former selves, these bonds become testamentaries of love's transformative power, illuminating paths for others to follow. In choosing transcendence over an eternal return to pain, partners not only navigate seas of collective wounds into realms of resilience and unity, but lay down a heritage of healing and hope. In the quiet chambers of our inner landscape, a peculiar tension arises when we encounter the gentle embrace of healthy love. This intimate journey reveals the ways in which the echoes of our past ripple through the present, often threatening the potential for true connection. Our spirits, conditioned by survival, perceive security not as a refuge, but as an uncharted territory within, fraught with unseen hazards. When healthy love offers its tranquil promise, it may feel alien, even menacing, to those accustomed to the tempests of emotional strife. The narrative of self-sabotage entwines deeply with trauma and trust. Trauma carves intricate paths in our psyche, leading us to associate chaos with familiarity, while stability can appear as a siren's song, luring us toward imagined danger. A mind finely tuned to threats tends to misinterpret peace, perceiving it as a mere prelude to turmoil's inevitable return. This inclination to disrupt one's peace does not stem from a dearth of desire, but from a guarded skepticism, a learned defence that we strive to transform into conscious choice, unravelling defensive loops to embrace the calm we so dearly deserve. For many, chaos has woven itself into the very fabric of survival, an ingrained strategy refined through years spent navigating unpredictability. Our neural pathways, trained in turbulence, cling to instability, mistaking its familiar cadence for the assurance of home. In our relationships, this tendency leads us irresistibly toward partners whose tumult echoes our own, spinning a subconscious reenactment of life's earlier trials. Although treacherous, this experience feels strangely comfortable, harmonizing with the emotional scripts we first learned to read. Within this intricate dance, the body reveals its imprint of past chaos, regarding calmness with suspicion. It braces for disruption, dismissing tranquility as a transient illusion. The anticipation of chaos becomes a stance of wariness, eyes ever scanning the horizon for the storm that must surely follow. As we deepen our understanding, we discover how the shadow of trauma bends our perception of love, shackling us to cycles of turmoil. Through gentle awareness, we begin to rethread these narratives, consciously choosing serenity over disarray. Calmness, to a mind shaped by trauma, does not symbolize sanctuary, but rather foreshadows disaster. The soothing balm of peace, ideally a source of reassurance, is instead interpreted as the deceptive calm preceding the storm. This paradox engenders in us a great unease, leading to self-sabotage as we brace for the turbulence we inherently distrust. The duality of desiring peace, yet fearing its arrival, is a poignant facet of the trauma-touched psyche. Intrusive memories emerge as spectral remnants from trauma's past, bearing great influence over our present understanding of love and stability. These uninvited flashes, triggered by the innocuous, can provoke powerful responses capable of undermining present-day relationships. Trauma's shadow, long buried, often materializes during vulnerable moments, steering us away from potential sources of connection. Recognizing the power these memories wield over our actions forms a crucial step on the path to healing. By acknowledging and making space for these memories, we reclaim our right to respond with agency rather than reaction. This serves as a foundation for conscious engagement with love, enabling us to rebuild trust and understanding amid the echoes of what once was. As we disentangle our partner's actions from the chaos of our past, a new foundation emerges, built on trust and comprehension. In this journey of transformation, self-compassion becomes a steadfast ally. Trauma often distorts our self-image, fostering feelings of unworthiness that create barriers to receiving the love we deeply crave. By embracing self-compassion, we soften the harsh narratives ingrained by trauma, making space for healing and open-heartedness to flourish. self-compassion gently acknowledges our struggles, inviting us to transition from self-criticism to understanding murmurs of kindness. To break free from cycles of sabotage, cultivating secure attachment is imperative. Secure attachments offer the emotional scaffolding essential for stable relationships founded on trust and respect. Our early attachment experiences cast long shadows, often shaping our relational patterns. For those with rocky attachment histories, fostering security is a challenging yet profoundly rewarding endeavour. As we sculpture these secure dynamics, we rewrite narratives imbued with doubt and fear, ushering in a belief in our inherent worthiness. In the delicate dance of love, resilience, and emotional intelligence become the threads that reinforce relational bonds. Trauma, with its ability to contort our emotional landscapes, can undermine our capacity to navigate relational challenges adeptly. Building resilience fortifies our capacity to rebound from adversity, while emotional intelligence allows us to understand and navigate our emotions, laying the groundwork for empathy and connection. Mindful presence stands as an antidote to the restless anxiety of a trauma-trained mind, guiding us to savour the richness of now. Trauma enmeshes us in cycles of concern that steal us away from the present moment's abundance. Mindfulness nurtures an attuned awareness, offering a balm to our anxieties and fostering authentic intimacy. As we practice mindfulness, we reshape our connection to relationships, seeing them not as battlegrounds, but spaces of growth and shared tranquility. Rebuilding trust is perhaps the most arduous aspect of overcoming self-sabotage, demanding patience and vulnerability. Past betrayals infuse our interactions with skepticism, urging continual caution. Yet, trust reconstruction is an act of bravery, founded on transparency and consistent, respectful actions. It is through the acknowledgement and honouring of boundaries that relationships solidified in trust take their form. Embracing vulnerability, often misjudged as weakness, surfaces as a profound source of strength. Trauma guides us to shield our tender places, yet in opening ourselves, authentic connections are nurtured. Vulnerability is not reckless abandon, but the courage to stay open. Knowing the risk of pain invites the possibility of joy. As we open ourselves to vulnerability, we step boldly away from sabotage's shadow, ready to embrace the sweeping possibilities that healthy love unfurls before us. In the quiet chambers of the soul, the inner child stands as an ethereal presence, holding on to whispers of early memories, a custodian of our youthful dreams and earliest heartaches. This child, innocent and unguarded, shapes our journey through love, intimacy, and connection. These initial imprints, whether tender or turbulent, become the blueprint from which we sculpt our perceptions of affection and closeness. Through this lens, we often seek out what feels familiar, a shadowy dance that echoes past vulnerabilities. When childhood's needs went unheard or emotions left unattended, invisible wounds are woven into the fabric of adulthood. These forgotten sorrows quietly dictate our choice of partners, compelling us to gravitate toward those who resemble the very figures of our formative years. It's a silent reenactment of yesterday's narratives, a quest for belonging amidst tales of old hurts wrapped in the guise of familiarity. Our roots in early love and attachment offer a fascinating map, guiding our adult interactions with an unending quest for safety and recognition. As adults, we find ourselves constructing relationships within these aged patterns, where the wounded child thrives not on growth but on survival and comfort. This child, trapped in the safety of the known, often misinterprets the repetitive aches of past dynamics as a form of cherished connection and endures in the shadow of a love that is mistaken for mere comfort. Growth is elusive to this child, for to change means treading into unknown territories that might seem threatening. Yet, in stepping beyond the veil of the familiar, we're presented with a profound opportunity to redefine notions of love and connection. Here in this vast, transformative landscape, light pierces the sheltering darkness of old habits, gradually cultivating a space where love flows unimpeded by past pain. Recognizing moments where our inner child pulls the strings, we learn to pause and reflect. Triggers, those sudden and often intense emotional responses, reveal themselves as echoes of unhealed wounds from long ago. Picture a quiet silence in a conversation, only for it to surge into a wave of abandonment fear, trailing back to moments when young cries met cold indifference. The wisdom lies in identifying these moments, peeling back the layers of unconscious beliefs rooted deep within. Compassion blends with self-awareness, allowing us to cradle these fragile memories. We learn to converse with ourselves gently, turning moments of distress into opportunities for insight. This clarity invites us to tend to our needs internally, weaving a tapestry of security found deep within our core. Here beneath the surface, we begin the delicate work of healing. This journey invites practices like meditation, journaling, and visualization, guiding us towards nurturing conversations with our younger selves. Engaging in these practices, we reclaim the tenderness lost in time, addressing the narratives that shaped us. It's a delicate dance, this reparenting, offering us the chance to unwind old critiques with loving and affirming inner dialogue. By indulging the playful, curious essence of the inner child, we nurture a relationship built on growth and acceptance. Freeing ourselves from emotional dependency becomes a subtle art. No longer reliant on others to anchor our worth, we learn to differentiate between love and the conditioned cycles of pleasing and sacrifice. Recognizing this distinction, we initiate healing of these deep-seated attachments by fostering self-esteem and a sense of identity independent of another's gaze. In the gentle act of self-compassion, we embrace vulnerability and forgive ourselves for meeting needs through survival's craft. With the caress of kindness that we would offer a cherished friend, we nurture the child within, allowing its voice to be heard without judgment. Our adult self emerges integrated, aligned with past experiences, and ready to participate in relationships full of authenticity and genuine love. As inner harmony arises, it lays fertile ground for companionships founded on mutual understanding. Resonating from this authenticity, we engage deeply, extending empathy and patience to those we cherish. Our transformed perspective enlivens conversations, allowing exchanges to flourish in truth and sincerity. In recognizing trauma bonds as ghosts of the past, we discern between the heart's true connection and pain's deceptive embrace. With each step of healing, the inner child learns to untangle love from despair. Aspiring towards wholeness, we permit only those connections that honour and propel us forward, shedding the chains of past captivities. The tapestry of our existence is incomplete without acknowledging the dance between the inner child's innocence and the guiding wisdom of the adult. As these dualities reconcile, a deeper connection unfolds, encouraging us to embrace our fragmented parts, weaving them into a masterpiece of authenticity and personal power. Amidst this dance, love and life blossom in a celebration of wholeness, guiding us towards a future replete with evolved connections and a palette painted in hues of empathy and transformation. In the quiet folds of human experience, where sincerity often hesitates to reveal itself, the habit of over-explaining emerges, weaving its intricate patterns. This behaviour, as old as early memories of childhood, sprouts from the subtle belief that one's simple truths are insufficient, fragile things needing elaborate scaffolding. In some homes where emotions lurked like shadows, children learned to break the silence with clear, thorough explanations, hoping to be heard and understood in the swirling chaos of family dynamics. As years drift by, the coping mechanism becomes an unwavering shield, offering protection against imagined judgments and rejections. Yet this shield can turn into a prison of syllables, obscuring the soul's quiet call for authenticity. To escape, one must learn to find solace in silence, recognizing that sometimes quiet, unadorned truths are enough. In the same universe of behaviors, people-pleasing quietly resides, yet it often shouts silently from the depths of an individual's early survival strategies. It grows out of the longing for control in the maelstrom of neglect, a chameleon-like adaptation to the ever-shifting needs of others. Such tendencies to cater and mould oneself promise a fleeting sense of security, whether from a caregiver's unpredictable nature or the inattentiveness of a chaotic environment. The need to satisfy becomes second nature, driven by a silent fear of rejection, wrapping like barbed wire around the truth of one's existence, a constant negotiation between external appeasement and inner authenticity. Yet freedom beckons from the horizon of self-awareness, inviting a gentle release from these chains by acknowledging the innate courage it takes to set boundaries and honour one's own needs. Both over-explaining and people-pleasing weigh heavily on the spirit, demanding a constant currency of mental energy and vigilance. Thoughts whirl in infinite loops, aiming to control perceptions and guard against misunderstandings, while unwittingly sacrificing the beauty of spontaneous connection. It is as if one's words must jump through the hoops of perceived clarity, chasing an illusion of security that never quite materializes. Yet if one dared to pause and embrace vulnerability, even the daunting potential for misunderstanding, they might find that their original whispers were always sufficient, deeply true enough to foster profound connection, untouched by excessive elaboration. The soul tangled in people-pleasing loses itself like a river diverted from its true path. Identity blurs as it wears the masks of others' expectations, becoming a shadow of authenticity. Beneath the facades lies an often unexplored expanse of personal desire and belief, an entire landscape awaiting discovery. Peeling back these layers dares one to face their own raw essence, a confrontation both fearful and freeing. In this unveiling, courage flourishes, forging a path back to one's genuine narrative, soulfully restoring the right to exist, untouched by external definitions. Amid this intricate dance, self-trust lies dormant, softly urging awakening. It whispers that worth is untouched by external validation or intricate explanations. It sings of the wisdom in gut feelings and the power of gentle self-correction when falterings occur. Lay aside the harsh whip of self-reproach, it urges, and embrace the imperfect human journey instead. In this quiet space, where the external cacophony fades, self-trust blooms, guiding every step toward connections that honour truth. Boundaries invisible yet mighty, stand as sentinels over one's inner sanctity, marking the sacred ground where outside demands dare not tread. They are bridges, not barricades, allowing for honest exchanges without the erosion of self. Expressing boundaries is an artful dance, communicating clearly where comfort ends and genuine interaction begins. They safeguard autonomy and cultivate a fertile ground for relationships to thrive, where authenticity finds room to breathe. As night follows day, the dance with one's shadow brings healing, pulling over explaining and people-pleasing into the circle of light. Shadows hold the unexamined fears and intricate desires, pieces of self hidden but ever active. Meeting the shadow face to face requires bravery, but also promises peace, as understanding transforms it from adversary to ally. True serenity emerges, not from perfection, but from the embrace of one's full story, shadow and light entwined in acceptance. Within this serene embrace lies the acceptance of impermanence, the gentle reminder that all is in flux. Desperate grips on interactions, on controlling outcomes, fall away in the face of life's eternal ebb and flow. Every interaction, fleeting or profound, belongs to a larger narrative, not solely ours to steer. In this acceptance lies freedom, a softening, a trust in the unfolding of relationships, allowing space for growth beyond one's own efforts. Finally, the winding path leads to authentic connection, a profound realm of truth where one meets the world as their true self, unburdened by over-explaining or people-pleasing. Such connections honour integrity, inviting vulnerability, and affirming that presence itself is enough. In this sacred space, human relationships transform, rooted in mutual respect, shared moments, and a love as enduring as the soul's quiet truth. Here at last, bonds are forged in the light of mutual recognition, nurturing each spirit in the delicate dance of life. In the tender tapestry of our lives, attraction often weaves its silken thread, dazzling in its allure, yet puzzling in its subtle complexity. It whispers to us, a siren's call that many of us mistake for fate's undeniable decree. But beneath this seductive glow lies something deeper, an echo of patterns repeated, tales untold by the subterranean realms of our subconscious minds. Attraction, although often heralded as a divine compass, is not an inherent truth, but a reflection cast by the shadows of past wounds seeking the comfort of familiarity. In childhood's embrace, we learn the language of love entwined with chaos and inconsistency, quietly shaping our heart's pursuits. Our outward pull towards another may, in truth, be the inner recognition of dormant hurts, a dancing shadow that Carl Jung himself warned would compel us until brought into the light of consciousness. Heeding this wisdom, we are invited to pause, to turn the gaze inward, and to untangle the delicate strands of attraction from the snare of habit. In doing so, true love transforms into a choice, a union not dictated by chemistry alone, but framed by the clarity of self-awareness. Delving beneath the surface of attraction reveals a dance led by invisible partners, our unresolved wounds, our past traumas yearning for resolution. In the subconscious vast landscape, attractions form a bridge, linking unhealed emotions from past chapters to our present narratives, often unbeknownst to our conscious awareness. This recurring cycle, known as repetition compulsion, invites us to relive old stories, seeking closure through new characters that mirror familiar conflicts. To tread this path is to embrace courage, turning our gaze without flinching towards the archetypal figures whispering in the depths. It is through the act of Jungian, shadow work that we unveil these hidden aspects, integrating them with compassion. The task is not to banish these instincts, but to understand and honour the truths they reveal. By casting light on these unconscious patterns, attraction shifts from an alluring guide to an instrument of profound personal growth. The heartbeat beneath our attraction often sounds from the nervous system's well-worn rhythms, echoing the conditioned familiarity we mistake for desire. Within the body's wisdom lie memories powerful and persuasive, a symphony of past conditions that respond to familiar overtures with repeated, unchosen reactions. What we perceive as chemistry may simply be our nervous system's yearning for what it already knows, rather than the balm our spirit truly craves. To liberate attraction from these unseen chains, we must gently retrace the steps of our nervous impulses. Through practices such as mindfulness and meditation, we cultivate an environment where the nervous system encounters safety anew. Here, amidst the gentle breaths of stillness, attraction evolves into a conscious, measured choice, awakening us to the gifts of intentional love. In the heart's theatre, the roles we play are often authored by archetypes residing not only within us, but within the collective unconscious. Whether as lovers, heroes, or caregivers, we act out tales spun by these ancient narratives, often misinterpreting attraction as destiny's siren song. It is necessary to decipher these archetypal costumes and scripts, ensuring they align with our true desires rather than projecting illusions of fulfillment. This deconstruction invites a deeper understanding, allowing us to step back from the compelled narratives and reclaim attraction as a willing participant in the dance of life. The journey leads to freedom from these rehearsed roles, birthing relationships that transcend unconscious enactments to become genuine grounds for mutual evolution. Projection, a trickster of the psyche, paints those we are drawn to with hues of our own unacknowledged emotions and desires. This alchemy blurs perception, manifesting attraction as a mirage of misunderstood realities. We see not the other, but a mirror reflecting our own inner landscape, casting doubt upon what we declare as undeniable allure. With radical honesty, we embark on unravelling these projections, who they are and what shadows of ourselves guide our drawn steps. In pursuing this truth, attraction no longer deceives but enlightens, transforming into a guide for self-discovery and healing. Much like the flame's flicker, playing tricks upon the walls of a dim room, emotional triggers masquerade their chaos as romantic chemistry. These triggers, sprung from the vaults of our past, stir intense energies mistaken for attraction's spark. Left unchecked, relationships risk becoming cycles of unresolved tension and repeated wounds. Yet beneath this turmoil lies an opportunity to transition from reaction to reflection. Cultivating emotional intelligence, we learn to notice these triggers, pausing to transform reactive tendencies into conscious choices. The recalibration allows for bonds rooted firmly in authenticity rather than illusion. Finding one's truth amid attraction's initial waves demands the courage to explore beyond the spark. It reframes attraction as a beginning, not a conclusive truth, but the encounter from which deeper connections flourish, built upon shared understanding and real connection. This unfolding path entwines self-awareness with intentional discernment, allowing authentic relationships to rise from the foundation of reflection. It reshapes attraction into a deliberate choice aligned with genuine compatibility and respect. Thus, as we redefine the dictionary of attraction, we move beyond the notion that pulls at heartstrings represent immutable truth. Instead, attraction becomes a canvas upon which we paint, blending hues of awareness, intention, and mutual growth. Our love story a timeless unfolding, guided by a consciously chosen heart. In the tender tapestry of our lives, attraction often weaves its silken thread, dazzling in its allure, yet puzzling in its subtle complexity. It whispers to us, a siren's call that many of us mistake for fate's undeniable decree. But beneath this seductive glow lies something deeper, an echo of patterns repeated, tales untold by the subterranean realms of our subconscious minds. Attraction, although often heralded as a divine compass, is not an inherent truth, but a reflection cast by the shadows of past wounds seeking the comfort of familiarity. In childhood's embrace, we learn the language of love entwined with chaos and inconsistency, quietly shaping our heart's pursuits. Our outward pull towards another may, in truth, be the inner recognition of dormant hurts, a dancing shadow that Carl Jung himself warned would compel us until brought into the light of consciousness. Heeding this wisdom, we are invited to pause, to turn the gaze inward, and to untangle the delicate strands of attraction from the snare of habit. In doing so, true love transforms into a choice, a union not dictated by chemistry alone, but framed by the clarity of self-awareness. Delving beneath the surface of attraction reveals a dance led by invisible partners, our unresolved wounds, our past traumas yearning for resolution. In the subconscious vast landscape, attractions form a bridge, linking unhealed emotions from past chapters to our present narratives, often unbeknownst to our conscious awareness. This recurring cycle, known as repetition compulsion, invites us to relive old stories, seeking closure through new characters that mirror familiar conflicts. To tread this path is to embrace courage, turning our gaze without flinching towards the archetypal figures whispering in the depths. It is through the act of Jungian shadow work that we unveil these hidden aspects, integrating them with compassion. The task is not to banish these instincts, but to understand and honour the truths they reveal. By casting light on these unconscious patterns, attraction shifts from an alluring guide to an instrument of profound personal growth. The heartbeat beneath our attraction often sounds from the nervous system's well-worn rhythms, echoing the conditioned familiarity we mistake for desire. Within the body's wisdom lie memories powerful and persuasive, a symphony of past conditions that respond to familiar overtures with repeated, unchosen reactions. What we perceive as chemistry may simply be our nervous system's yearning for what it already knows, rather than the balm our spirit truly craves. To liberate attraction from these unseen chains, we must gently retrace the steps of our nervous impulses. Through practices such as mindfulness and meditation, we cultivate an environment where the nervous system encounters safety anew. Here, amidst the gentle breaths of stillness, attraction evolves into a conscious, measured choice, awakening us to the gifts of intentional love. In the heart's theatre, the roles we play are often authored by archetypes residing not only within us, but within the collective unconscious. Whether as lovers, heroes, or caregivers, we act out tales spun by these ancient narratives, often misinterpreting attraction as destiny's siren song. It is necessary to decipher these archetypal costumes and scripts, ensuring they align with our true desires rather than projecting illusions of fulfillment. This deconstruction invites a deeper understanding, allowing us to step back from the compelled narratives and reclaim attraction as a willing participant in the dance of life. The journey leads to freedom from these rehearsed roles, birthing relationships that transcend unconscious enactments to become genuine grounds for mutual evolution. Projection, a trickster of the psyche, paints those we are drawn to with hues of our own unacknowledged emotions and desires. This alchemy blurs perception, manifesting attraction as a mirage of misunderstood realities. We see not the other, but a mirror reflecting our own inner landscape, casting doubt upon what we declare as undeniable allure. With radical honesty, we embark on unravelling these projections, who they are and what shadows of ourselves guide our drawn steps. In pursuing this truth, attraction no longer deceives but enlightens, transforming into a guide for self-discovery and healing. Much like the flames flicker, playing tricks upon the walls of a dim room, emotional triggers masquerade their chaos as romantic chemistry. These triggers, sprung from the vaults of our past, stir intense energies mistaken for attraction's spark. Left unchecked, relationships risk becoming cycles of unresolved tension and repeated wounds. Yet beneath this turmoil lies an opportunity to transition from reaction to reflection. Cultivating emotional intelligence, we learn to notice these triggers, pausing to transform reactive tendencies into conscious choices. The recalibration allows for bonds rooted firmly in authenticity rather than illusion. Finding one's truth amid attraction's initial waves demands the courage to explore beyond the spark. It reframes attraction as a beginning, not a conclusive truth, but the encounter from which deeper connections flourish, built upon shared understanding and real connection. This unfolding path entwines self-awareness with intentional discernment, allowing authentic relationships to rise from the foundation of reflection. It reshapes attraction into a deliberate choice aligned with genuine compatibility and respect. Thus, as we redefine the dictionary of attraction, we move beyond the notion that pulls at heartstrings represent immutable truth. Instead, attraction becomes a canvas upon which we paint, blending hues of awareness, intention, and mutual growth. Our love story a timeless unfolding, guided by a consciously chosen heart.